Nice. So we will return to our API in FME Flow and open up the facilities endpoint. Right now, it returns the results from all regions. So to make it more flexible, we'll update the endpoint path by appending a parameter called region. And enclosing the name in curly braces creates a path parameter, which we can see here. And we'll also add a query parameter called minimum capacity to let the users filter their results by the number of available spaces left. So if you're looking for a facility with room for a group of 10, you can easily filter those results. Before saving, we'll go into a responses tab because now that we have user inputs, there's more potential for error. And we can add a new status code called 400 bad request. And this will have a descriptive message, bad parameters, so that the end user or application can fix the request before trying again. And once we save an endpoint that's already created, FME reminds us to update the workspace connected to it. We can go over to our workspaces tab and see that the status is now needs updating. So let's go over to FME Workbench and update it. So you can update a workspace by re-downloading it, or you could update the reader if it's already open. Once opened, we can review our new attributes on the data virtualization reader. We now have path region and minimum capacity, just as we set up in FME Flow. So we now need to incorporate these new attributes in our workflow. So with parameters, it's really important to validate user input. So we can add an attribute validator just to check that they set a region value since it is required. A more complete validation might check it against all the Excel names, but we'll leave that for next time. So then the attribute manager will just replace the value with an asterisk if they want all regions. And in our Excel reader, just updated the path to have that flexibility. And then between our feature readers, let's throw in a tester. It's not ideal, but it's going to make sure that each location has the requested minimum capacity on our Excel sheets, which don't otherwise support queries. Before finishing, we can't forget about our new 400 status codes for bad parameter values. So we will add an attribute creator that builds those response attributes. So 400 and the message. And we'll connect that to the attribute validator. So now let's test it. Templates are a lot more useful when you have parameters. We can set a value for the minimum capacity, say 3, and set a value for the region. We can also save that sample for future use. Let's give it a descriptive name. And select a sample instead of just a plain template. There it is. So we'll run it. And we can confirm in our output file that we have a 200 response in a much shorter array that meets our client request. So let's publish the workspace back to FME Flow. And back in our workspaces tab, you can check that status again, just do a quick refresh. It needs authoring now, and now it is assigned. So let's open the Swagger documentation to confirm all the expected responses. So we'll start with a specified region. And since minimum capacity is optional, we won't put that in yet. So here are our regional results. Everything looks good. Next request, we can try with minimum capacity. We should get a shorter list of locations. Yep, looks like it's further filtered. And now let's try to do a request with something like a silly value we know won't get results. So let's try 1,000 minimum capacity, see what that does. Now we get an expected 204 no content response. So there you have it. We've walked through the process of updating our facilities endpoint. We now have 2 new parameters that make our endpoint more flexible and user-friendly while still handling errors cleanly. And this being a very basic example that I threw together in an afternoon, I can't imagine what you guys will come up with this.